The Honorary Life Membership Award recognizes active or retired members who have given outstanding service to education at the provincial level. At this time, it is my distinct pleasure to present Karen Langenmaier with the Honorary Life Membership Award. Karen began her career as a member of the BCTF in 1989 after completing her master's degree in speech, language, and audiology from Western Washington University in 1986. Prior to joining the BCTF, Karen did work as a speech-language pathologist at the Kamloops Regional Hospital. She subsequently consulted in special programs in the Kamloops School District from 1980 to 1985, was also a speech-language pathologist in the Merritt School District from 1985 to 1987, and then taught in the Comox Valley School District from 1987 until her retirement in 2016. When Karen began working in the Comox Valley District, speech-language pathologists were not BCTF members. Karen clearly and obviously found this unacceptable and was determined to join the Comox District Teachers Association. So Karen and a small group of her colleagues worked vigorously to join the union to ensure that speech-language pathologists receive the benefits that have been successfully bargained by teachers. Through their tireless efforts and support from the CDTA, speech-language pathologists soon became members of the local, consequently being placed on Category 6 of the salary scale in recognition of their education. In great part, due to Karen's advocacy and leadership. This marks one of Karen's early accomplishments as a union activist, and fortunately for us, she was just getting started. Through the 1990s and early 2000s, Karen took on many roles at the local level, as Prody chairperson, president of the local Special Education Association, and local bargaining chairperson. But her passion for the health and safety of workers was always at the forefront of her activism. Her interest in health and safety initially began in 1994 when Karen and her husband, along with a concerned group of parents, spearheaded a movement to improve the air quality in her children's school, a prescient cause that remains as relevant today as it was nearly 30 years ago. At the provincial level, Karen became a member of the BCTF's Health and Safety Advisory Committee in 1998, where she continued her work on prevention and remediation issues. Driven by passion to educate and empower members, Karen authored numerous health and safety articles, creating awareness and giving voice to growing concerns about the physical and mental well-being of teachers across the province. In addition to her work on health and safety, Karen also served in the role of vice president of her local for 4 years, and later served in the capacity of local president from 2007 to 2008. Just prior to being appointed staff as the BCTF's Health and Safety Officer from 2009 to 2013. During her time on staff, she was instrumental in advocating for the unique health and safety issues of the education sector to WorkSafe BC. Her expertise and advocacy resulted in the further identification of hazards specific to the education sector, including violence-related injuries, as well as the development of injury prevention for teachers across the province. In recognition of her outstanding contributions to members' health and safety, Karen has already received the Stuart Shawn Award in 2017. After leaving her role on staff with the BCTF, Karen rejoined the Comox District Teachers Association and continued her work as a speech and language pathologist. Given Karen's sharp intellect and history of advocating so eloquently on behalf of members, many of her colleagues encouraged her to run for a member-at-large position on the BCTF Executive Committee. In 2014, Karen was elected to the BCTF Executive Committee for a 2-year term, bringing her expertise as local president, health and safety representative, along with her steadfast commitment to member engagement. Although Karen officially retired in 2016, like many activists, work never really ends. Karen remained on the TTOC list and continued to volunteer for her local and facilitated workshops until January of this year. Although I have it on good authority that she is still just a phone call away if advice is required. When one considers her activism at the local level, her provincial work as a health and safety representative and BCTF staff member, along with her contributions while sitting at the BCTF Executive Committee table, I'm sure you would agree that Karen is most worthy of recognition for her outstanding service to the Federation and its members. So please join me in a heartfelt congratulations to Karen on her many achievements as we present her with the Honorary Life Member Award.
Oh my goodness, Clint. Thank you so much. It's always interesting to hear what others say about you, and very humbling. I have to admit, I have Kleenex with me just in case I don't make it through this. For those of you who don't know me, I live in the beautiful Comox Valley on Vancouver Island. And I'd like to acknowledge that we live on the traditional territories of the Comox, the Pentlatch, and the Ayiksson people. And because I'm sitting at home, I also want to acknowledge that I live on a street called Nimnim Place, which is named after Chief Nimnim, who was part of the Pentlatch Nation. Now, there are many stories about Chief Nimnim. He was quite an outgoing, gregarious person, but one of my favorites is that he developed a love for baseball, and he would go to as many baseball games as he possibly could. And maybe it's because of this that he became an ambassador and made many connections between his people and the settlers. We always knew that baseball was important, didn't we, Nick Moore? So in the language of the people of the West Coast, I would like to raise my hands and say, Gela Kiesla. Now, Gela Kiesla has many translations. They include thank you, you're welcome, hello, and my favorite is may you bring positive intentions to your encounter. Gela Kiesla. Now, when I first started, as Nick said, or I'm sorry, as Clint said, I was excluded staff. I had no union, no representation, and virtually no guidelines about how I worked. And I remember my first year asking my supervisor about the week between Christmas and New Year's. Do I work? Do I not work? And he said, oh, if your work's all done, just take some time off. And so I thought, all right, so when is your job ever done? And how much is some time? And also at that time, when we were having our sons, I was allowed 4 months off for mat leave before I had to come back to full-time. I had no extended maternity leave and no provisions for part-time work. We've come a long way. And we've come a long way because of people like you, who give up 4 days of your spring break to sit in front of a computer screen or in a stuffy room, to listen and to debate and to make decisions that improve public education and especially the lives of your colleagues. And sometimes it might not feel like it, but it is such important work that you're doing. And I, for one, who used to not get maternity leave or be able to work part-time, I thank you very much. One of the last roles that I took on before I retired was to chair a committee called In Defense of Public Education. Now, this small but mighty group determined that we didn't need to defend public education. We needed to celebrate it because there is no greater organization than public education. We take every single child that walks through that door and with them their families and their communities. And we nurture them and protect them and teach them every single day, every single year until they don't need us anymore. We only have to look at the dedication of our colleagues and friends in Merritt and Princeton who kept on teaching despite the fact that their schools and their homes were flooded out. And the people in Lytton whose school managed to survive the fires, but their homes didn't. And now they keep teaching, some of them living in temporary homes, some of them driving hundreds of kilometers to come to the school to teach. And then there are all of you who, for the last 2 years, have taught behind stuffy masks, who've washed 100 little hands, who have kept the spirits of our kids up, who've made sure that students graduated, all because, and all of this despite knowing that the COVID bug was out there. I believe that every single one of you should be here with me receiving this award because you deserve it. Now, while I am immensely proud of the work that I was able to contribute to public education and to the BCTF, it was also an honor to do so. None of it was done for recognition. Everything was done because I believe in the public education system and the people who support it. I believe in the union movement that keeps our workers strong and healthy, because if our workers are strong and healthy, our students are strong and healthy, our schools are strong and healthy, and public education is strong and healthy. And public education is the backbone of society, and the people who work in public education are heroes. You are all heroes. I would like to thank my husband, Carl, for all the years that he listened to me, especially after all of those spicy union meetings, and there were quite a few. And he said to me the other day, so are there any benefits that come with a lifetime membership? So I asked my friend Sean Holland, and he thought about it for a little while, and he said, I guess that means that you can come to as many meetings as you want now. Yahoo, said Carl. I thank our sons Conrad and Adam for teaching me about children. And I see in them and their partners, Victoria and Myrna, the benefits of the public education system, and we are so proud of their achievements. And now we get to watch the benefits of public education through the eyes of our grandchildren. I thank the strong and caring and funny and ferocious and beautiful members of my own local, the Comox District Teachers Association. And Sherry Dietrich, Nick Moore, and Sean Holland, I thank for nominating for this award. I especially want to thank my dear friends, Barb Connors and Marty Maxwell, who had the tenacity and the forethought to make sure that speech and language pathologists became part of the BCTF and members of the BCTF. It was about 34 years ago, a little over, and with our friend Sandy Moyer, we have held positions of local president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, Prodi chair, health and safety chair, bargaining chair, strike captain, staff rep. We have been on provincial and local specialist associations, done workshops provincially and locally, been on the provincial executive committee, and worked at the BCTF as staff. Speech and language pathologists rock. I thank my friends and colleagues at the BCTF who taught me so much more about collective agreements. Kelly Shields with her razor sharp memory, and how to improve workshop facilitations through my friend Jenny Garrels. And I learned about so many other locals around the province through people like Carol Turk, who I'm pretty sure was about 100% responsible for Conrad and Victoria getting jobs in Dawson Creek, although Conrad and Victoria probably had a little bit to do with it as well. There are people like Barb Pruce and Verna Warner, who are the most organized and efficient people that I have had the pleasure to work with, and yet could make me laugh and laugh and laugh. And so Barb and Verna, do you remember this? What is something that's in your fridge that starts with the letter L? Milk, shouted Doug Kearney. We laughed and laughed and laughed. I thank all of you. And to my non-BCTF friends, Kathy and Les Seacly, who were my family when I had to leave home for the 4.5 years that I worked at the BCTF. I thank all of you. And finally, I thank those of you of this great union, the BC Teachers Federation, for the support that you provide our students and their families, but especially the support that you provide each other. There's an author whose name is, let me see if I can remember it, Glennon Doyle Melton, who says in a paper that she wrote, this brilliant math teacher has a formula to save kids. And she says at the end of it, teach on, warriors. You are the front line. You are the first defense. You are our only hope for a better world. What you do in the classrooms is our best hope. And I'm so proud to be a lifetime member beside people like you who do this every day. Gila Kiesla.